Hi, I'm Yvonne Bynoe. Welcome to the Crazy Courage webinar, where we are busting success myths and learning how to live more courageously. Today, I am so excited because we're going to be speaking with Yvonne Bynoe. Yvonne is a business coach, business and marketing coach. She's a mother, and she is owner of Soulful Affluence. So, Yvonne, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. Can we start out by just talking about Soulful Affluence? I love that name. What does that mean?
Soulful affluence really comes from my belief that, financial prosperity or abundance comes from inner prosperity and abundance. So very often women, entrepreneurs, business owners want to focus on making money, and that's great, but you have to deal with the other parts of you, whether that's your mindset, your fears. That's what really holds women up. It's not about expertise. It's not about being great at your job or really having a great passion. It's about your idea of who you are and what you can have.
Okay, I completely agree with that. I think so many times, especially as women, but I think men can do this too, we focus on becoming better at our jobs. We focus on improving our expertise, and rarely do we address sort of the fears that might be holding us back.
Also, too, a lot of times when you see women with, a lot of training, a lot of certification, so they have enough experience to go out there in the world and really be of service and make great money. So my message is, start where you are. Certifications and degrees and all of that are fine. You need that to be expert in your field, but you don't need an abundance of that. And many people have done extremely well with no credentials, but just the school of hard knocks.
Okay. Can you talk about some of the fears that you've seen sort of with your clients that, what are some of the specific fears that can hold us back?
Well, what I see from my perspective is I deal with very smart women, women who are successful, have been successful in other parts of their lives. But now when we start talking about being a business owner, they are front and center. So there's an issue about being visible. They don't want to be criticized. They're not sure whether they know enough to be called an expert. There's fears also too about money, which plays into, I deal with clients who are interested in working people one-on-one. So you have to be able to ask for money, and you have to really look at your pricing and see whether or not that makes sense for you. And very often we bring a lot of money baggage, what we believe about money, what we were taught about money, how we think we should make money. And those are big ones because they are tied into fears about, am I enough? Do I know enough? Are these prices too high? Will people think I'm greedy? So it's not just marketing. If it was just marketing or even business, people could read a book and there would be zillions of people out here, making 6 figures, 7 figures. But the truth is that you really need very often some additional support to get through those fears, to really address them. If I can, I don't want to get too technical, but stats show that in the United States, only about 10% of women are making $100,000 or more. But they are the ones who increasingly are starting businesses. So it's showing us that we spend a lot of time and we're in the mix, but we're not doing other things that are really going to help us to take our skills, talents, and training and really make good money to support ourselves and our families.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I love when you said that women a lot of times have beliefs about how they should make money. Like, I think that really struck me because for a long time, I had to kind of deal with that and sort of this thought that I had to work really, really hard. And if I wasn't working hard, if I wasn't stressed out, then I didn't deserve the money. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a big one because a lot of people, I know myself, I did not grow up in a household of entrepreneurs. My father had a good job. Everybody but they had the regular 9 to 5. So many people come to the table thinking, well, it needs to be a 40-hour work week. You got 2 weeks off, and anything else is kind of shady or shysty. So, or it's just it's not a secure situation. So if you're being responsible and you're being, careful, you're not going to place yourself into some shaky financial situation. There's also too that money thing They feel, well, I don't want to, I'm starting a business to have more time, not less. And you have to really break them out of that thinking that it's not about, it's about working smarter. It's about really having good tools and strategies. It's not, I don't believe, I'll be honest with you, 8:30 in the morning is early for me. We're starting this interview. Usually I don't start till 10 o'clock.
Oh, that's awesome.
But that's my schedule. I have a son. I have things that I'm doing in the morning. So it's about creating a work life that really supports your lifestyle and being able to live well.
Okay. Thank you for waking up this morning.
No problem. Well, I'm usually up, but not doing
interviews. Yeah. I actually, it's funny you say that. I actually have 2 little ones. So I have a 9-month-old and a 2-year-old. So, like, I'm trying to get them done while they're asleep. You know what I mean? So it's funny how, it takes a while, though. But they kind of forced me to sort of look at my schedule and make the changes that I need to. So it's kind of nice. Yeah.
And like my son, this is summer, so he's asleep right now. But I take him back and forth to school. Those are things I enjoy. And this is the big reason why I do the work that I do, because I want to be there with him. I want to be a hands-on parent. And that was my choice. And I really support women who want to, have time for ailing parent, children, or just themselves to go, do the things that they want to do.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about your journey to get here? I mean, did you have to kind of deal with these fears yourself and overcome them in order to be where you are?
Yeah, I was an accidental entrepreneur. I'm an attorney by training. I had run a well-recognized national organization, a think tank, a hip-hop generation think tank. And I had written some books. I had done some other things and had been fairly successful in that. But when my son was born, I realized, I had to make some changes. I stepped down for the organization and I started. And I was writing. That's when I wrote my first book when I was pregnant. And I really I was on vacation, came with a piece about women and how they are creating their lives and families. And it was an open call. It was an anthology. And I just really started reading all these, submissions as far as India. Can you imagine?
Wow.
We had UK, Canada, and United States, so I focused on the United States. Long story short, I had been able to do a lot of the things that the women were struggling with. I was good with setting boundaries, goal setting, a whole host of other things. I said, maybe there's something here. So I started talking to women informally. Then I realized, okay, there's a business out here, coaching. I knew about consultants, but I didn't know about coaching. But despite all the experience I had, I really looked around and said, well, I didn't have real coaching experience. And I didn't have business experience. I had legal experience. But setting up a business, getting clients, I was used to people coming to me. And it was a different animal. So I really struggled the first year or so because I just thought I had a great idea, great business. People would come, and it was crazy. And then the people who did come, I wasn't marketing properly, so they didn't understand the value of what I was offering, and really didn't want to pay. Either they, even at a low, like $100 an hour, they were like, oh, I can't afford it, or I thought I was going to get everything in this like free session, and it just wasn't working. And I really had to, have one of those kind of moments where either I'm going to do this the right way and stop fooling around, or I'm going to have to go get a job, and that was going to take me in another direction I didn't really want to do. So yeah, I struggled with mommy guilt because part of this whole thing was to be home with my son. I'm divorced, so I did not want to have him in a situation where somebody else is going to be taking care of him the bulk of the time. So it really lit a fire under me, and dwindling money. You have resources, more money going out than coming in. So I really had to say it's time to stop getting myself, have my pride get in the way, because I had been successful in the past. I figured I could do this too and figure it out on my own. Then it was the whole thing, am I going to be taking away time from my son? So I had a lot of issues like everybody else I had to struggle with. And really hiring my first coach was the thing that really set me on fire, because they see things that you don't see. And this was somebody who was able to push me and really uncover some of the BS that I was, really focusing on. It wasn't really important at the end of the day.
Okay. So you hired your first coach, and it kind of helped you, get past some of these fears. Was it a quick process, or did it still take a little time?
Everything takes a action. But what the coach was able to do was jumpstart the process. I had been at this for like a year, probably a little more than a year, and you would get little things here, little drips and drabs there, but it wasn't sustainable. So what she was able to do was show me, how do I take all my talents and skills and really surround it? I also understood the importance of, I could build a business that supported me but didn't take away from big one. So, because it goes back to, we have ideas of how we should do things as opposed to what the wide universe provides us with opportunities to do. So that's but I still have coaches, I still have mentors, because you hit one thing and you get that down, and then you want to go to the next thing and you need more help as you go forward. So everybody successful has somebody. You're not Venus Williams without a coach. You're not, world-class, cellist or, whomever. Everybody has help. So that's a big thing. A lot of women don't want to invest in help. They figure, I can figure it out my own. And you lose a lot of money in the process.
And time,
And headache. And you spend a lot of time stressed out with headaches.
Okay. What are some of the tools that kind of got you through, that helped you break through? I know you mentioned coaching. What are some of the other tools? Are there self-care techniques that you do to kind of stay connected?
Yeah, one of the big things that I really started doing was about wealth consciousness. I was somebody, I grew up in a middle class household, but it still was the same thing about how do you do money. I was looking at we had done okay, wasn't struggling, but now I had different aspirations. I also was starting my own business, and I had to rethink my ideas about money. So I really recommend that everybody start looking at that. Each day I'm spending time reading wealth consciousness books, really trying to raise my vibration, if you will, about what do I feel about money, understanding it's an abundant resource and it's there for me. But I have to go out there. I can't just sit and meditate and pray, because I find a lot of people, they want to journal, a vision board, but they don't want to get out there and actually do the work. It's a two-part process. It's like prayers. That's one of my favorite biblical quotes. So you have to do all the inner work, but then whatever inspiration you have to get out there and actually do something. So whether it's reading inspirational books, whether it's reading wealth consciousness books like The Science of Getting Rich or This Game of Life, those are some of my favorites. But you have to get out there and do something that's really going to change your thinking, and then you take that information and put it into action.
Okay. You broke up a little bit when you mentioned the first book. What was the first book you said?
The first book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Second is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And the third one is The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn.
Okay, so those are some of your favorite kind of wealth.
Yeah, I have quite a few, because this is every day. I really recommend people do it every day. Try to devote a minimum of half an hour to some type of inspiration, whatever religious book you want to read. But it has to be something that's reinforcing in you that you have the abilities right now to step forward and do this, that you don't need any additional training. You might need some help to uncover some stuff, but you are enough as is, and the world is an abundant place. We see a lot on the news, we see a lot on TV shows, but that's only a small part of what's out there for us. And that goes into something else. Check who you're hanging around with. If everybody around you is, I'm broke, the economy's bad, I can't afford this. If it's a lack mentality, or if people are not trying to move forward with their lives, it's going to be very hard for you to move forward with yours too. There's a lot of people I'm not associated with anymore. Great people, there's nothing wrong with them, but they made decisions about their life and how far they were willing to go, and I wanted something different. And it's peace, but you have to let it go.
Right. Oh, wow, that's a lot of great stuff. Can you think of a time, whether personally or professionally, when what would you consider one of your most courageous moments, when you had to find the inner strength to do something that you were afraid to do?
Well, I personally was deciding my marriage was something that wasn't serving me. He was a great guy in many respects, but we had different visions about, how we wanted to live our lives, what our aspirations were, and I was very concerned about how was that going to impact my family, particularly my son. So it wasn't a snap decision. It took a lot of time. That's what I'm talking about, prayer and meditation and counseling and all of that. But once you get to a place where you sees. He has a great relationship with his father, and I'm blessed for that. But we needed to go different ways. But that was a big deal for me. And in a lot of ways, what you do in your personal life mirrors whatever you're going to do in your professional life, because you're the same person. So if you take a jump in one space, it gives you the strength and confidence to take jumps in other places. Because again, this whole process for me was really redefining myself as a business coach. I knew who I was as an attorney. I knew who I was as an author and all of that. But this was a new arena, and you can either stay in the old lane or you can jump to something else. And I was willing to jump to something else after consideration and after, really doing my homework.
Okay. You talked about redefining ourselves. I feel like that's a hard one for us, because a lot of times people will say, and I've done this myself, this is who I am, How do you break free of that in order to become who you need to be for the goals that you have for your life?
Well, you're always going to be yourself.
Right.
There's a core. I'm just saying, I'm from New York originally.
Right.
I tell people straight up, I'm a New Yorker. I love it. That's my roots. There's parts of you that shouldn't change. They're your values. They're your truths. They're your identity. What needs to change is how expansive you see your world. You're from D.C., I'm from New York. They haven't left the city.
Right.
They will not travel.
Right.
They say, well, I live in D.C., I live in New York. What else is there to see?
Right.
So it's like, how much do you see for yourself? There's some people say, well, I'm making $40,000 a year. Everybody I know making $40,000 a year. That's it. So growth is really about expanding your vision of yourself.
Okay.
It's really taking those same core values and those beliefs and those interests and seeing how far you can stretch them. If you're a philanthropist, if you're really interested in the earth and all of that, that's great right now. Maybe at $40,000, what are you doing? Well, what could you do at $400,000?
Right.
What kind of impact could you make at that level? If you are interested in being a parent and really serve family, what could you do if you're making 35? What could you do with 100? It's not about the money. Money doesn't do anything except really magnify who we already are.
Okay.
It doesn't change us. It allows us to be more of ourselves.
Okay.
So that's really about people. I always recommend traveling. Even if you're just traveling in the United States, get out of your city, look around, eat different foods. Figure out what you like. People, I don't like that. You haven't tried it. It's about read new books. I watch reality TV, but sparingly. So expand what you're putting into your mind. So it's a lot of different things that we can do for no money or low money that really helps us to think more about who we can be and how we can contribute more to the world.
Okay, that's awesome. What are some of the clients that you've worked with? What are some of the results that you've seen? I know. Yeah, go ahead. Can you talk about that?
I'm really blown away. And this is why I love the work. I have one woman right now who is one of my superstars. She just had her first $10,000 month.
Oh, wow.
And she started out, zero, basically.
Right.
That's why she came, because she had another business before.
Okay.
Just like I said, had done really well in the other business, but was struggling as a coach. She didn't know how to really differentiate herself, and we've been working together, helping her to really define who she is, really get her points together in terms of what is she offering, what is the transformation that she's providing through her services. So I think this month will be her second $10,000 month.
Okay.
I had another client who, the big thing was she was really well educated, Georgetown degree. She was a tarot reader, so this is the breadth of who I work with.
Okay.
But she was really afraid to put herself out there. She came from a very religious background.
Okay.
She was scared. She's also scared of relatives coming out the woodworks. So how some of her money story that if I do well, all of these relatives will come out. She wouldn't even put her face on Facebook.
Wow.
So working with me, she put her face on Facebook. She got her packages together in terms of what she was going to offer. She got offered to sit on a panel for one of the most prestigious, tarot readings, symposiums, and she was doing workshops. So here's somebody who wasn't even willing to put their picture on Facebook to now being in front of an audience and making money from her gifts. So those are the reasons why I do these things. Money is part of it, but again, it's really about helping women to really dig in and find out who they are and how can they express that in the world and
Okay, okay. Those are some awesome stories. What do you see are keys to those type of breakthroughs? Like what are some of the keys to, being afraid to even put your face on Facebook to breaking through?
Well, one of the things is women I find are risk aversive. And I always tell people I take calculated risks.
Okay.
But you have to take a risk. A lot of people want to sit from the safety of wherever they are, whether it's a relationship or whether it's their business, and do nothing and hope through, some miracle that something's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't work that way.
Okay.
So ultimately, these stories I could certainly tell, but these women decided enough was enough. It was like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Okay.
And they realized, I got to do something different. And that was step one. I'm going to take a risk. They took a risk on me, but it could have been any coach. But they decided, I need some help, and because what I'm doing is not working.
Okay.
The second piece is being coachable. Even if you're talking to a friend, how many people have you given advice to and they turn around and just don't even take the advice?
Okay.
So it's the thing about once somebody, if you're picking somebody to get advice from, whether it's a paid person or, even somebody in your personal life, take the advice.
Okay.
And actually take a step forward. A lot of people I meet, and I will be honest, my programs are, we have a conversation and I will invite you to work with me because this is a one-on-one process. I can't work with everybody and don't want to work with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I talk to women and nothing's going on in their business, making no money, but they think they know more than I do. You called me. I didn't call you.
Right.
So if you're not coachable, if you're not open to hearing advice, if you're not open to really looking at yourself and being honest about, I'm great at some things and I'm not good at others, and being open to direction, you're not going to make it either.
Okay.
I think the third thing is this fear of rejection. Women more so than men get really caught up in the fact that, if something doesn't work, that means I'm bad. If somebody doesn't enroll in my program or come to my workshop, I'm a bad person. No, it probably means that your marketing is bad or could be improved, but you are fine. But there are people who cannot take rejection. And if you're going to have a business where you're the business owner, whether you're a coach or service professional, solo entrepreneur, you have to take rejection and don't take it personal. It's like, the four can't take everything personal. If you're going to get in the bed for a week because somebody said no to working with you, this is not the right arena for you.
Okay. I love disconnecting your self-worth from the things that happen in your business.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. If you could give people a tip, what's one thing you can do to kind of raise your money consciousness? What would that tip be?
Well, I think the first thing is the place to start, and this is sometimes depending if I have a client who needs it, really looking at your money story. What do you believe about money? What are the earliest stories or ideas or concepts about money that you have received from parents or guardians? It could be grandparents who were raised by grandparents. Really start uncovering some of those things because were people secretive about money? Was money, it was a feast or famine? Was it always struggle? I have some clients who are fluent and still have money issues because they had more than everybody else. I had one client who her father was a minister and now she's doing really well. Her husband, her husband is doing really well, but she has money stuff because the father believed, well, you know what, you should only, poverty was the path to godliness. So she has issues around that. So you really have to dig into, what do you believe about money? What do you believe about people who have money? Because our subconscious is what directs us. So if you really, are you somebody who says, those people are greedy, or, they're oppressive, or they're bad people, you don't really want to be bad or oppressive. And although you might say, I want more money, if those are your subconscious beliefs, it's not going to happen. And I think the last point, watch your talk. When you say, I'm broke, I can't afford it, anything that's talking about lack, you speak that into your life. So really check your conversation about what are you saying about things in general. If everything is bad, if everything is, lack, you're not going to bring prosperity of any sort into your life, whether that's in your personal relationships or in your business, because it's about attraction. I get opportunities. Yeah, I'm out there, but it's also about my energy.
Okay.
So if you have bad energy, and people know if they have bad energy, people are going to stay away from you, even if you're the most expert person in the world. It's just not going to happen for you.
Okay. You mentioned something when you first started giving the tips, being secretive about money. I've never heard that one before. What is happening?
A lot of families don't talk about money.
Okay.
It shows up or it doesn't. So on both ends of the spectrum, I've seen people who grew up in struggle, and they just don't talk. The children grew up never knowing how much money the parents made.
Wow.
They didn't know how much household expenses were.
Okay.
They had no concept. So it goes on both ends of the strata that I've had clients that nobody talked about money.
Right.
And if you brought up money, you were shush. Like, we don't discuss that.
Right. That seems
that's grown folks' business.
Right. That seems so normal to me, but it's so interesting to hear you talk about how that can even limit your money consciousness. So we should be having these conversations with our kids about money.
Exactly. And I let my son know. I mean, again, I grew up in a time where you had cash. So I was used to seeing my mother, so he doesn't see cash.
Right.
But I had to let him know this is not magical. It's like, here's a card. This is what I make. This is how I do work. This is how I make money. If you see daddy with a card or Nana with, this is what that card is. It's the same thing as
it's
money.
A symbol, right?
So yeah, he understands. I mean, he's not getting in the intricacies of the household finances, but that may come at a different point when he's older. But you have to talk about money. I came from a family. We pretty much talked about money, but not a lot of it. Not a lot of conversation. It wasn't a negative environment about money.
Right.
So I knew it wasn't magical or mystical.
Right.
But there are a lot of people, for a variety of reasons, do not discuss money, or they're very secretive about money, and particularly for women, they have this idea, well, men are the only ones who should be making money.
Right.
There's a lot of people who still come out of that background, and that really impedes your ability to go out there and think about money in a responsible way, and really want to have it for yourself. If you think somebody else, then you're looking for Mr. Right or Mr. the Prince, or somebody gonna sweep you off your feet.
Right.
And unfortunately, even the Prince comes, he may not stay. And I mean that, even the best guys. I had one situation, a good friend, her husband died. He was a fabulous guy. We were young. We had just been out of college a little while.
Okay.
But he died. And, had she not, he provided, but had she not had some resources, her and her daughter, it would be a very different story today.
Okay. That's very interesting. Yvonne, what's next for your business? Like, what are you currently working on, and what's kind of in the future for Soulful Affluence?
Well, really, what I'm working on is just building the business.
Okay.
That was a decision I made because I really feel like, group programs are great, but they don't provide the type of support. I've been in them myself, and I've ran them. So I come from the perspective of both sides of the fence. And I just feel like women get more support, they get more guidance, and they can move forward quicker working one-on-one. So I do one-day intensives virtually and in person. I'm going to be doing some in New York in September, so I'm really excited to go home and do that. And then I have longer-term programs, a 90-day program and some other programs. And I have an international base that I'm really proud of, and I'm looking to grow that because I think the world is a big place. And the big thing, if I say nothing else, people have to understand everybody's not your client, but there are millions and millions of people out there. If you can't find clients in your town or your city, get on the internet because there's billions of people there.
Right.
And you just have to position yourself to find them. So that's what I'm looking for. I really feel like women have an opportunity. It's not about money, but it's about having it all. Find it. But first define what success means for you and then get out there and grab it. And that's what I'm really encouraging women to do.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, you're so right. I mean, it's great that we can have the conversation like this. There's Skype, there's so much technology where you can, work with clients from all over the world. So where are some of your clients from furthest away?
The furthest I've worked with someone is in Australia.
Cool.
And that's a big time difference.
It is.
But definitely have people in the UK and a lot of Canadians. And I mean, anybody who speaks English can be your client. So, I mean, that's the reality. And I'm even brushing up on my Spanish. So, that might be another thing entirely. So, I mean, it's a lot of opportunities. But what I really just say, just start where you are. A lot of people want to have these big businesses. You have to get your first client.
Right.
Or get consistent income. There's money's right, till the kids are grown, or, you need to start now. Even if you have a regular job, I always recommend start transitioning to something else. A lot of people don't like their jobs, but even if you like your job, it may not be around. We're not in an economy anymore where you can have a job for life.
Right.
So set up something else. So if the job, ends, or you just want out, you can transition. Because I work with a lot of women who try to leave their jobs, and they don't want to miss the money. They like their job, the salary, they just don't like the job. Right. And now I'm helping them to set themselves up to, replace that income.
Okay, awesome. Those are awesome tips. A lot of great information in there. Thank you so much for sharing and being with us. Did you have any last thoughts, any final thoughts on courage?
Yeah, I would love, if I can, to share where I can have a free resource. And for anybody who wants to work with me, just to talk briefly about that. And so I'm going to put my glasses on for this one.
Okay.
But I have what's called the Clarity Clients. And what that is, that's a workbook and 3 videos. So that can start somebody out if they really are new to coaching, or just, want to figure out what I'm about and what this whole deal is. And they can go to www.soulfulaffluence.com/courageous-women-entrepreneurs. So they can go there, opt in, and get that. And if you're interested in talking with me and finding out, about my programs, then you could just email me at team@soulfulfluence.com. And I work primarily with coaches, solo entrepreneurs, and service professionals, and professional women who are ready to leave their jobs. So it's a conversation. It's no pressure. And if you're interested, we can, talk about that, and I'll talk about my programs. If it's not a good fit, then you still walked away with some good information about what you need to do going forward.
Okay, awesome. And I'll make sure to provide some links to those websites below. So
Great.
You can just click them below. Okay, well, thank you so much, Yvonne, for being here and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you. And like I said, it was an honor and a pleasure. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what comes from this. And as I said, you're doing a fantastic job. I always applaud women who are reaching out to other women. So thank you.
Thank you.